Hey, what's going on, all you Keep the Changers? Welcome back to Keep the Change. I'm so excited today. Wait a minute. I say that every week. But I'm really excited today to bring back my friend, a gentleman that I have so much respect for, someone who is so respected in automotive as a leader, as a man, as a person who just is really authentic. David Long is with us today. David, welcome back to Keep the Change, my friend.
Bart, it's great to see you.
The what I noticed about you, David, is the people that respect you so much. And I just want to shout out to you for that. If you don't know David, you've been living under a rock, but David is the COOVAN. Now, what's that stand for? COOVAN. What's that stand for?
Just a bunch of acronyms. No, that's the COO of VAN, which is Vehicle Acquisition Network.
There it is. There it is. Spoken exactly the way I would expect you to. That was what I was looking for. Thank you. President of David Long Consulting, Vice President of Schumacher Chevrolet, founder All Things Used Cars. If you don't have anything to do Friday morning, you need to get on Clubhouse on Friday mornings. And I'll let David plug that because it's the best show on Clubhouse. And he's got a following that's like, it's unbelievable. Rock stars don't have as many people come to their Clubhouse shows as David Long does. Creator of the Pandemic of Positivity. This guy's one of the most positive guys I've ever had the opportunity to connect with. And the author of a brand new book that's coming out that you see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see his backdrop, Step Zero. We're going to talk a lot about that today. He's an NADA speaker. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a person of faith he's a man of sobriety. He and I have that in common too, because we both walked this path of not taking a drink for a number of years. So David, ultimate respect for you. Welcome back to Keep the Change. Tell us about your journey. You went from Hansel, you left Hansel to this journey.
Well,
talk to us about that.
Thanks for having me on, Bart. I always love spending time with you. We both have our mason jars. That's kind of weird too, right? You left one thing out, very important thing out. I'm a grandfather.
All right.
Yeah, we have two, a 5 and a 4-year-old, really 4 and 3, but they're close enough. So being a grandfather has been a real fun part of my journey. And I am sober like you are, and that is a big deal. So if anybody's out there struggling, or thinking that there's no hope for a better life, there is definitely a way. And I'm always happy to help anybody that needs it. So,
yeah. And you're a perfect example of going from the pit. Cause I remember about 3 years ago in the show, you took us to the childhood. You took us. And I remember one question, I think I say this every time I interview, who has the most impact on you growing up? You said, nobody. I just did the opposite of what the people that around me did.
You remembered that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, nobody's ever said that before. And it gives me chills when I hear about it now. It talks a lot about the pit that you were placed in and where you are now with this place of peace. And I heard it the other day did so well. And that is some people start on first base. Some people start on third base. And, I have to tell you, I started on third. I had some privilege, I just blew it. But you started on first, maybe. It might not have been first base, but you overcame all of that to get home. And that is just so powerful. Tell us about your journey, what's going on in your world, buddy.
So I love being home. It's a great place to be. Walking in faith is a great place to be as a husband, father, grandfather, steward of the 4 businesses I run. So when I retired from Hansel, I swear to you, I thought I was going to downshift and just take it easy, help my friend as the COO, sit at home, make a few phone calls, and help him grow his business. And then my training consulting business just blew up. I currently have over 30 individual accounts. The Schumacher Group asked me to come on full-time or as much as I could as the vice president of their company. And there's some really good things happening there. We were in the 130, and we're 47. If we finish this month where I think we will finish 47th in the country and averaging in the top 50 for the year 2026, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
In the Chevy world. So
Where's Schumacher?
in New Jersey.
Okay, got it.
So COO of Van, New Jersey vice president of Schumacher, the David J. Long Consulting brand. Very blessed to say that there's 30 active clients right now that I work with every week. And then my real project when I retired that I thought I was going to spend all my time on is this, Step Zero. So my word for 2026 is a lot like yours, which is impact. And I've been working on this book on and off for about a decade. It came to me more than a decade ago. I'll never forget. You mind if I go into that story a little bit?
Oh, are you kidding? People are saying, come on, man, bring it.
So, I had an epiphany, and what it was I saw dealers, because I was the executive general manager of a group, and I saw dealers that were executing the process properly, but weren't producing the right outcome. And I started thinking, is it all about the process? Like, is it about doing step 1, 2, and 3? Is it about doing it the way that we've all agreed we're going to do it? Or is there more to it? And that's when I established, when I could look across the body of work, some dealers were doing the process perfectly, but not producing outcomes. Some were doing it, quite frankly, not perfectly and producing much better outcomes. And what came to me was it had to be more than just process. There had to be more than step 1 through step 8. And that's where Step Zero was birthed. And it's all about attitude. I mean, really how our attitude impacts not just our life, but the people, all the people we come in contact with, the person you hold the door for at the grocery store, the person you come home to in your family, the person you work alongside of. How do we impact people with our attitude? What does our attitude tell people when we walk into the room or when we come home at night? And then the second one is energy, big energy guy. There's a guy named Michael Auger. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, the author. We've been on Oprah Winfrey. And anyway, he's always talking about what kind of energy are you bringing? Are you making the level of the room more energetic or less energetic? Are you a drain or a drain plug? So when I started thinking about the level of energy that impacts the people that we influence, it made sense to me that if we're going to have an impact on our world, that we need to have the right energy, not just energy. So the book talks about that. And then last but not least, our approach. And I don't know if you've ever seen the body of my work, but I believe a structured, clearly defined, and disciplined approach is what it takes. So the stores that were succeeding at a mediocre level with a solid process either generally didn't have great energy around the process, didn't have a great attitude towards the process, or had an inconsistent approach. By the way, the book is not meant for somebody that's selling cars or writing service. It's meant for men and women just like you and I that are trying to level up and be the best version of ourselves that we can be, not just for our work, but for the people that we care most about. And that's what inspired me to write the book. So that's it. That's Step Zero in a nutshell.
That's so powerful. So let's take it a little bit. What did you learn when you were with Hansel? That really,
what a great company.
Really, oh my gosh. And you and I have had this discussion. One of my greatest parts of my career was so humbly being able to serve them at the capacity they allowed me to for a period of time when I got to work with some of their teams, and Roberto, Ryan, just great humans, and hanging out with Henry at his house and Justin. And I think I told this story before on this channel with you. But one day, Justin, I asked him, I was getting ready to take off. And I said, what are you doing this weekend? He said, I'm going to go see Carl Sewell and John Maxwell. You remember this story. And there's an event at Carl Sewell's house. John Maxwell's going to be there. And I said, oh, that's awesome. Can I go? And Justin said, no. but Justin, if you're listening, buddy, this is because of you. Where I am is because of you. But he said Maxwell has a training company where they train people how to be leaders. It's called Maxwell Leadership. The next morning, I signed up for Maxwell Leadership. I paid the $3,000. I signed up for their DISC program, their emotional intelligence program, their mentorship program, all at one time. It ended up being $6,000, I think. I clicked the button to sign up, and it changed my life. I mean, it did. Being immersed with the Maxwell principles and taking it into these businesses changed my life. It made me a better leader and allowed me to help other people to do that. But take me back to your experience with Hansel and the different things you learned, because you were there a number of years. What did you learn that also got transferred to this book?
Well, that's a great question, and it's going to be fairly easy to answer. But I was with Maxwell 2 months ago at the Surge event, and he is just as good today as he was back when Justin made that comment to you, or even better, I would say.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's amazing. So what I took away from Hansel, so we had an executive leadership team, and I think I settled into my leadership style, and most of the fear that I operate my life with left me. I felt safe and stretched, which led me to the place of knowing if I want to get the most out of people, they need to feel safe but stretched. There's a fine line, meaning, and that quote, by the way, came from DGDG, which Sean and Jeremy, great company, a lot of similarities between the two companies, family owned, operated, father, son. I mean, it's really uncanny on all the similarities. But as it relates to Hansel, I had a chance to have multiple rooftops. I had amazing people, and I had a chance to experience myself step into what at that time was the best version, not the best version I'll be, but the best version of myself I have been, which was super cool, right? Because I never got a chance to lead from that place of being a whole leader. I was always coming to work fearful that if I didn't outperform the market, if I didn't work harder than everybody on the planet, that my days were numbered. It was the first environment that I showed up and I didn't feel like I was running from something. I felt like I was pulling people towards something, which was really a freeing experience for me. And part of that showed up in the book.
I'm sure, and we're going to dig into that, but that's so powerful. Because David, I got a problem.
What?
Can I tell you? Don't let anybody know this. But my problem is that I always want to help people with the 6 inches between their ears. And I believe in the more we can help them with that, the more they perform on any stage, whatever as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather. Amen, bro. And he's pointing right to step 0. It's like you're reading my mail.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating though, because you and I want to make a huge difference. And yet a lot of people don't want to work on themselves, the 6 inches between their ears, right? Yeah. So you mentioned fear. You mentioned coming to the table with vulnerability, coming to keep the change with vulnerability. Who in this room ever mentions fear on a podcast? As much as we've had great guests, very few people do. So tell me how that, for me, it's insecurity, not comparison, not feeling I am enough. It's where I lived in the past. Not so much now, but in the past. So you said that was a place with Hansel where I just could be me, where I could be the leader I wanted to be. Take us to that. There's a leader listening to this today who says, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be there tomorrow. I don't know how to overcome the fear within me. How would you suggest, based on your experience, how you really felt in your element, how would you suggest that they get to that place?
Well, it's interesting because I don't think it had a lot to do with Hansel. I don't think that awakening, that transition, that shift was about Hansel as it was about me finally understanding what I was writing about for a decade and how I took care of the inside that turned into an outside reflection, right? And, my friend, I don't know if you know Danny, the owner of VinQ.
Yeah.
You know Danny?
I don't know him, but I've seen him and I know you guys, through your experiences, I've seen him, and Yeah, he seems like a great human.
Well, we didn't like each other. He says he didn't like me in the beginning, but that's not true because he chased me to be his friend for a long time. I hope he sees this. I was not crazy about him. And then finally, Liza, Brian Benstock, and a few of my other close friends push me. You just got to give the guy a chance. And the reason I'm even sharing it is because that interaction when we became friends was one of the catalysts for me to really be able to look inward and start to own some of the insecurities that I had, some of the things that were holding me back. Danny told me, I don't know, a year and a half ago when we first became friends, that pain pushes, vision pulls. And it was, have you ever heard when the student's ready, the teacher will appear?
Every week on Keep the Change podcast.
Well, don't tell Danny I said this, but he was one of my best teachers in that moment and in my life, because I heard it in a different way. Sometimes you hear things and they impact you, and sometimes you hear things and they move you to change. Well, I was always pushed to do things. I was pushing myself because I was always fearful. And not to say that the fears completely left me and the insecurity no longer creeps in and the self-doubt doesn't come from time to time, but I have a completely different skill set, and it's all around the vision that's pulling me, not the pain that's pushing me. And there's a lot of that I learned how to perfect inside of my relationship at Hansel. Just really a cool experience that you'll see in the book.
So what were some of the things you did? You've got these multiple rooftops. You're, you probably didn't feel this way, but I'm sure some people walking in there and thinking, oh boy, am I worthy of this? Can I do this? And it sounds like you overcame that internally pretty quickly. But what did you do? How did you do it? Was it your time in the morning? Was it affirmations? Was it just confidence in your process? Was it your charming personality? How did you overcome the darkness, the pain pushes to the vision pulls? How did that happen?
I think it's probably a little more than I could share in a 30-minute podcast, but there was a lot of healing that needed to happen as a young man. And by the way, the healing didn't need to take 100 years, but there were things that were definitely holding me back. There were some, I would call them paradigms. There were some voices, and I don't know what you think, like voices, I'm crazy, I'm hearing people talk, but the insecurities of you're not enough. When people find out how lack of intelligence you bring to the table, you're going to be exposed and they're not going to want you around. All those insecurities that I came with from being a slow learner, an abused child, an alcohol, like all the things that I needed to take a look at, I was finally able to let go of, because I'd been working on them for a while, but I finally came to the place of being able to release them and know that I'm perfect in God's eyes, just the way I am.
Oh,
and if God be for me, who can be against me? And one of it is I really leaned into my faith.
Yes.
No matter what people think about that, I believe that was one of the biggest things that transformed my ability to stand in the present moment and feel secure in my own skin.
You know what I've heard about from you recently, David? It seems like you've had a transformation a little bit, not in your faith, but declaring it. It seems, maybe I'm wrong, but I've been following you for some time. I'm kind of a stalker, and I've just heard you mention your faith more. Maybe you did it subtly. Now it just seems a little bit more on the table. And again, you're respective of other people's faith, but you also make sure they understand yours as well. 41 years ago, I walked into the rehab center, and I never drank or used since. And what I learned about that was I love the steps of recovery, because step one is admit. And that's what you and I walked through that. We had to admit. And then step two came to believe. We had to believe in something and besides the doorknob. And step three made a decision. And that's been kind of my whole life, and yours too. Again, your realness is what people are attracted to you with, your vulnerability. And I find so many leaders can't be that vulnerable. And yeah, that's part of our insecurity, right? And you're vulnerable, you're real, you tell it like it is. And because of that, people follow you en masse. So your journey in terms of, again, talking to a GM, talking to somebody who's got a business, talking to somebody who's just not really super sure of this, what are you going to tell them, my friend? How is it that they can get that feeling like you have of confidence, of servitude, of faith? What advice can you give them?
I love how you asked that question. The answer's going to be more than one fold.
Let's go.
So I think most of the insecurity, at least for me and the guys I work with, come from a shortcoming that we're personally not embracing. For instance, maybe we're not doing maybe we're not putting the level of effort in that we should be putting in. Maybe we're leaving a little left, a little reserve tank that we should have been driving into. I think my experience, at least for me, was the less I held back and the more I actually followed through on what I knew was a good job, the less fearful I was. Does that make sense to you, Bart?
Oh my gosh, David. I think what I'm hearing you say is when you and I do things that, and maybe this isn't exactly what you said, but this is what I heard, okay? When you and I do things that are uncomfortable and we continue to do them, it builds our own self inside. And with our own self inside, then we're more confident doing everything we do. So
it's a lot easier to walk off the playing field when you know you left it all on the field.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love
And by the way, one of my current coach, and he's been my coach now for about 18 months, I think, is David Meltzer. Do you know him?
I do know the name. Yes. David Meltzer. Of course I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And I thought I was different, Bart. I thought I had terminal uniqueness, like we hear, like you and I have heard. And I thought I was the only CEO, COO that was operating from a place of insecurity. And then I found out that the most successful men and women in the world, every single one of them, maybe I didn't meet the one that doesn't, has some level of fear, insecurity, or from time to time, a crisis in self-confidence. And when I realized that I wasn't alone, it helped me to understand it's just part of the deal. I don't have to make that big of a deal out of it. So David tells me to stop, drop, and roll, which is super cool. So from having those moments of insecurity or pangs of feeling less than, stop, drop, and roll. I don't have to continue the thought. I can stop. I can drop, which means I pray. And then I just roll on, right? I just keep going. And guess what? Guess what? Fear and apprehension can't catch a moving target.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where I can't personally think my way into feeling better. I have to act my way into experiencing a different feeling. And that's part of what I do. So there you go. That answers your question, I hope.
It does. And when you hear it, when you say that, I've got this thing. It's kind of similar. Stop, drop, pray, and receive. Right? Same thing. Yeah. And you know what I found, and you do this so well, you give. And every time I see people that are stuck, a couple things, we're on the prayer team, Mary and I, people will come up and their life's a mess. And the first question I ask is, how's your prayer life? Nobody whose life is a real train wreck has a really good prayer life.
No, they don't.
Right? And yet what they also do is when we're in stuck mode, we're in narcissistic mode sometimes, I think, and we're about how can I, what about me? What about me? What about me? And what I realize is folks like you and the people that I admire so much, it's never about you. It's about what can I give? And it's not about success anymore. You've already got that. It's about significance. And when you went on your own, now you're living the significance. How can I give? How can I give? How can I lift others? Tell us about the transition, why you went from Hansel, which had you were, one thing you would always do, man, you were the best I'd ever seen at serving your team. You always did events for your team. You honored your team. You built up your team. It was so good. It was never about you. And then you said, no, it's time to go. And I'm going to go into this next season. What prompted that? Talk to us.
Health. I wanted to focus on just health. And when I think, most people think of health, they think how strong, how fit. Emotional, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. And I don't know if you knew, but I was driving 70 hours a month. That's how far my commute was back and forth.
Wow.
So I needed to spend time with my family. I needed to spend time with myself. I needed to take care of myself. So that was part of the motivation. The other part is I'm moving out of California and we're building a sort of a compound, if you will, for the family in Idaho. And awesome. We're very excited where everybody can just come. All the kids can live there. The grandkids can live there if they want. We've got water in the back, water in the front. It's just the place that Caroline and I have always dreamt about being able to do for our family. So building a home, writing a book, a training consulting business. I thought eventually I'm not going to be able to give Henry and Justin the amount of me that they deserve, or I would give up so much of me, I wouldn't be able to stay healthy in the critical areas that matter most to me. So that's why I made the choice.
Yeah. What have you learned about you since you've taken on this new journey? Obviously, you're very strong emotionally, obviously physically too. I mean, you're an athlete, you work out a lot. Basketball is a big part of your life. You love being at the gym. You take care of yourself. You can tell it. You don't look anywhere near your years. What have you learned about you?
That I don't need a lot. That I just being at home with my family and dogs. I don't need travel. I don't need fancy cars. I don't need expensive jewelry. I just need simple. Simple is all I need. I'm very clear and comfortable with that. There was a time where I would chase the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have my eye on anything anymore other than health, family health, emotional health between the family, well-being in my spiritual life. That's enough. That's what I've learned about me.
I've seen you with your son, and that's such a great relationship. It's so nice that it's what a treat, right? College student, now he's hanging out with you at shoulder to shoulder. What's that been like working with Alex? You have other kids as well, and I'd love to hear those relationships. What's it been like to hang out with your son, which is it's right in front of all of us to get to meet Alex and see you two together, playing hoops together. It's a great relationship. What's that been like?
Yeah, I'm lucky to say, and Caroline says it's not luck, but I'm happy to say, I'm blessed to be able to say that I have that relationship with all my kids, our kids. We have 2 daughters, 2 grandkids, and of course, Alex that you met. Alex has been traveling to events with me since he's 8 years old. He turned 21 last month. So if you go to the gym, there you see Alex and I. You go to an event, there you see Alex and I. It is probably one of the, my daughters and my son and my relationship at home here with my wife. It's everything to me, Bart. So I'm very blessed to be able to travel with Alex. And he works in my David J. Long Consulting. He also works with me on the van side, doing the marketing and social media. And he works with Rev Dojo, doing mystery shops, portal, LMS sales, and he's going to school full time.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So between helping Kyle Disher at Rev Dojo, helping and supporting Tom, Greg, and I with Van, working here on my David J. Long Consulting business. Oh, by the way, he's the reason that all things used cars, him, Peter, and Joe Jackson, we've blown that up to 1,200 listeners every Friday morning.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's been super cool. So it's been fun. To answer your question, it's a lot of fun to work with my son. For sure.
How good is that? So this book, your brainchild. You've been working on it for 10 years. That's so cool. What is and the launch is when?
Once I pick the final cover, it should be done this month.
Oh, fantastic.
So the book's done.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
I just have some tweaking to do on the cover, and it'll be in my hand.
So when you look at attitude, when you look at that you that's a big part of step 0.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to somebody who's following you, that somebody you're mentoring, to somebody you're consulting, for them to have the essence of what a good attitude is all about? What's that mean to you? What's David Long's language for what attitude really means to you?
Perspective. What I mean by perspective is I believe that the way we approach our life has everything to do with our perspective on where we are and whether we're grateful or whether we feel like we're lacking. And where I see most people coming from is a place of lack. It's like something's missing. When I'm working with David Meltzer, we're always talking about what meaning are you giving this particular situation. And I have never seen somebody succeed at a high level that gave the current meaning of their life anything. If they've given it something, a negative, like I should be, and they're shooting on themselves about I should be here and I should do this and I should be having that. I've never seen those people really maximize what's available to them. I just haven't.
So good. Wayne Dyer, don't would ya, could ya, shoulda on yourself, right? And I get to work with addicts all the time, and so many opportunities in our ministry to hear people that are really broken in their self-talk. And they say, oh man, I do that. Yeah, I keep doing that. And like, nope, ain't going there no more. In the past, you used to do that, but the past is done. The past is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today's a gift, right? All that. So we're not going to talk that way anymore. What you speak to yourself becomes your reality, right? So
I wish more people paid attention to that, paid attention to how they're talking to themselves. For the most part, in my past, had anybody else talked to me the way I was talking to me, we'd be fighting.
yes.
Throughout the day, I would continue to repeat things that were just not true. So I'm with you. How we pay attention to how we talk to ourselves is probably the most high quality conversation, or the lowest quality of conversation we should be concerned with throughout the day.
So good. Thank you, David, for that. Now let's talk about that energy piece. What's energy mean to you? When we look at that you mentioned how it influences others. There's a piece of that when COVID came out, I had t-shirts made. It was before COVID, actually. Be contagious. Now we can be contagious positively, or we can be contagious negatively, but we know what that means, you and I. How do we be contagious? How do we influence others with our attitude? How do we bring the weather? And yet when that came out with COVID, those shirts, I didn't wear them anymore. I didn't want to go into Fry's with a Be Contagious t-shirt on. People say, what's wrong with her guy?
Oh God, that's how pandemic of positivity was birthed, by the way.
Talk to me.
Because everything was gloom and doom, and everybody's energy was, which was understandably so, was full of anxiety and fear. And pandemic of positivity was just the opposite. What inside of what's happening right now can we embrace and find the good in? Wow. And not necessarily the things that weren't good, but what is it about the positive part of our life that we can accentuate, identify, and lean into? And not many people did that. That's why we developed the pandemic of positivity. So when you talk about energy, there's not one person that I've ever met in this world that couldn't tell you good versus bad energy. You walk into a retail environment. Is the eye contact there? Does somebody look eager to serve and greet you? Is somebody looking like you're an interruption to their life? You see it all over the place. Yeah. So just imagine, we're talking about people we don't know, strangers that we'll never see again, possibly. Airports, parking lots, grocery stores. But what is it like when we come home? I'll give you an example. I know a lot of people that's families hate their job, the person's job, not because they've experienced it, because of the experience the person doing the work comes home and gives their family.
Mm.
Man, that job must be really bad. Look at Dad's energy when he comes home. All he can do is drink 6 beers and sit on the chair and fall asleep. Like the energy, like I have this reset that I think is important. No matter what, I reset before I met with you.
Yeah.
When I'm done with you, I have a call with who's my next call? I can't even remember, but I'm going to reset my energy. Before I walk into the house and see my family, I'm going to reset my energy. I want the best part of their day to be the 30 seconds, the first 30 seconds they experience with me. Most people don't do that, Bart.
Yes.
So from an energy perspective, if I know for a fact, if I can make the first 30 to 60 seconds, the best 30 to 60 seconds that anybody will experience in their day, I'm going to have a good experience with them. I don't know if you ever studied this, but the Ritz-Carlton was one of the things that I studied for a long, long time. And this is where this was birthed, that I stole from Horst Schulze. He talked about guest experience. And he said, when the guest's first experience was pleasant, the rest of their experience was amazing. The food was better, the room was cleaner, the bed was more comfortable. Well, I took that and parlayed it into, just imagine if I could give your first 30 to 60 seconds everything I had. I mean, I'm here. I'm focused. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not carrying wreckage of the last interaction I just had, but I am here and I'm present and I connect with you with a great vibration. I bet the rest of the conversation is going to go well. Just like when there's an issue, customer that comes in that's really unhappy, I reset. The energy that I bring to that interaction isn't defensive. It's kind, it's loving, it's approachable, it's open, it's eager to serve. And guess what happens to that outcome?
It changes the whole state.
Everything, the guest experience changes. So if I can change the first 30 to 60 seconds of experience, I can almost guarantee you the rest of what happens from that moment forward will be a lot more positive than you can imagine.
Man, that's the $1 million advice right there. That is so good. And how does it go? They don't want to know how much you know. They want to know how well you made them feel. And I think that when we look at automotive, the problem has been a lot of marriages, brokenness, that type of thing, because yes, they did the production, but they didn't work on the production at home, right? And I believe that a big part of in my one-on-ones that I do with people, I want to make sure their marriage works as well, as we talked earlier. It's got to be, the marriage has to work for the rest of their life to work if they're in a marriage. And I believe that's a big part. That's huge. And I love what you said. I remember last time we got together, we talked about this. You hit the railroad tracks, you reset. As soon as you hit the railroad tracks on the way home, when you're walking the door, you're reset no matter what happened. And it takes intentionality, it takes discipline, and it takes an act of giving and caring about people that shows. People know you care. They see it in your heart. You just bring a heart to the table. So awesome. All right, we got to talk about approach. Tell me about that in relation to your new book coming out.
So in the approach piece of the book, it's how we approach each other. Do I assume positive intent, or do I already have a story laid out in my mind? I'm going to say, then you're going to say, then I'm going to do, then you're going to do. Like, how do I approach you? Do I approach you expecting a positive interaction and a good outcome? Or do I approach you defensive, like, if you don't do it this way, then I'm going to be upset? So the approach with one another is part of it. The other part is it structured. For me, I get up every morning at 4:00. My day tomorrow starts today, meaning I'm already planning and preparing exactly what needs to happen tomorrow before today ends, because I believe we win tomorrow today.
Oh,
we don't win tomorrow.
So good.
So it's already organized on what's going to get accomplished. But when I wake up in the morning, it's the prayer, it's the meditation, it's the physical movement. and then right on to my day. So the approach piece is, how am I approaching the day? Am I prepared when I wake up? Or do I wake up 6 minutes late, scrambling around trying to find my car keys and rush out the door? So the approach piece is pretty significant. So if your attitude's great, your energy's really solid, but you have a sort of a scattered, unmanageable approach, I don't think it all comes together. So in a nutshell, since we're getting close on time, the approach piece is what kind of structure to your day do you have, and how are you approaching one? Do you approach your day with the expectation you're going to win, or do you approach your day with a let's see what happens today? When you're getting yourself ready, are you imagining the outcome being positive, or, oh my gosh, what if this happens and what if that happens? So how we approach our day, how we approach each other, how we approach our plan has everything to do with the outcome. So that's energy, that's attitude, and that's approach, Bart.
And that certainly is unbelievable. I can't wait to get this book. I'm so excited about it. All right. I'll read this one in a weekend. What's that?
I'm pretty excited as well, Bart. I hope that my word this year is impact. And I'm hoping when people get this book, there's some things in it that resonate with them enough to help them make an impact that it made on me.
And you know what? I was going to ask you, what do you want to get out of the book? You just landed that. That was beautiful. Thank you. Talk to me about some shout outs. You got some shout outs for people.
So I don't know if you know, but I've completely aligned with, I've aligned with VAN, Vehicle Acquisition Network. Inside of VAN as the COO, do you know that there's 2 business models inside of VAN?
Let's hear it.
Number one, if you want to open up your own buy center and use our software, we'll reach out to consumers that are selling their vehicle private party and push them or help them into our CRM, which would be yours. So you can do it on your own, or you can hire my team. I have 42 managed buyers that will reach out to customers in your market, give them an offer that you would like them to have, set them up for an appointment, and help you buy private party vehicles. So you can either do it on your own with our software, or you can hire my team to do it for you. But if you're looking to acquire more cars, which who isn't? Like, there's one thing that every dealer has a problem with, it's acquisition. And most dealers have a significant problem with it. So if you're looking to buy private party vehicles, VAN is definitely the way to go. Best product in the marketplace.
Right on. Well said. Well said. Thank you for that. And I know my audience, and they're definitely interested in that information. So thank you for that. Any other shout outs?
There is one, and I would be remiss. We talk about impact. One of the companies, and here's where I was. I'm sitting, you know what NCM is?
Yes. Yes.
So Danny and I and a guy named Niff, we have an NCM 20 group. I'm one of the moderators. It's called Vehicle Acquisition 20 group. And there's 2 groups, 01 and 02. And in that group, we strictly focus on how to acquire inventory from private party, from service lane. And I'm happen to be sitting next to Murat. Murat is he's the vice president, or he runs Paragon Honda and Paragon Acura. Have you heard of them?
Everybody on this podcast has heard of them. Absolutely.
So I'm sitting next to Murat on purpose as one of the moderators. I get to choose where I'm sitting, and I'm looking at his screen. And I'm like, Murat, what is that? He's like, oh, that's our new product. That's what's making all the difference. And I'm like, how? What's it doing? He's like, well, it's replying to all of our customers. It's taking care of all of the phone calls, internet replies, text message replies. I'm like, wow, what is it? He says it's Spine. Have you ever heard of Spine?
I've heard of it. Yes. Look, yeah.
So, well, I have to get a hold of Spine, because this is probably something you don't know, but I have almost 100 stores every month mystery shopped. Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah, I knew you were doing that with our friend Kyle. Yes.
So these stores that are being mystery shopped, every single store, every single week, slow response time, slow text time, slow phone time, low follow-up. And I'm like, Murat, what does this solve for? He said, it resolves for response time. It resolves for number of follow-ups through phone, text, and email. It solves for giving a customer what they want when they want it on their terms, not mine. And I said, Marat, say no more. Got in touch with Spine, and since then I would consider me to be one of their biggest advocates. So if you're struggling, which every deal, by the way, I don't know any dealer that isn't struggling with response time, response to the response, contact percentage, and closing rates. Every dealer in the country wants a better closing percentage. If you're really serious, reach out to Spine or at least take their call, because they'll make all the difference, Bart. I promise you, on my 42-year reputation, if you're looking to have those things increase and improve, Spine's the company that can do it for you.
Right on. And how do they get a hold of you to find out more information about those two?
I'm everywhere. They can go to David J. Long Consulting, which, by the way, tons of free resources on there. davidjlongconsulting.com. All free. You can sign up for a free copy of my book, or you can find me on every social media channel. If you're interested in Van, Spine, David J. Long Consulting, or a copy of my book, that's where you find me.
You know what? Thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it so much. You just add so much value to everybody's life in every area. And we just thank you so much for that, and who you are, and your content, of course, to help people have more profit in their businesses. Just great stuff that we landed there at the end as well. So I wish you all the best in terms of your book. I know it'll be a bestseller. And I think what's so great about it is you have such a circle of influence that you probably got a lot of copies sold already. So congratulations, David. Congratulations on your life. Congratulations on the impact that you're making.
Bart, thank you. It's always good to spend time with you. Show up to All Things Used Cars. We need your voice in that room more often.
Done. Thank you for the invite. Appreciate you so much. God bless everybody. Reach out to David and share this with somebody. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you, Bart. I'll see you later.
God bless everybody.